Samsung has just unveiled the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2, and this is by far the phone that I'm excited for the most. So, without any further ado, this is the Fold 1, by the way. Fold 2, well, no one really has it just yet, but it's coming out very, very soon. So without any further ado, here are 30 things you probably didn't know about a Samsung Galaxy Fold 2. Take a look at this, guys. How cool is this? Learn more at the link below, and there's also a giveaway throughout the video, so definitely stay tuned for that. Number 1, there's actually a brand new hinge mechanism that now allows the Fold to stay open at pretty much any angle that you want, just like the Z Flip did. This means that you can actually prop it up and take a selfie or a group photo using the front or even the back-facing camera module. There are over 60 individual components in the new hinge, and Samsung said that they've actually tried over 100 different prototypes and approaches to make this hinge even possible. Now, something else that you can do with this is that you can keep it semi-open and have certain video controls on the bottom screen while you're watching a video on the top screen, and this could easily be applied to any apps and even games as well, so that you can have the game controls on the bottom and then the game itself on the top display. Speaking of the new hinge, when you order your Galaxy Fold 2, you can now customize that hinge. Now, this isn't live on Samsung.com just yet, but you will be able to change the color of the hinge. You have 4 options when you order your Galaxy Fold 2 through Samsung website. And it's something that I was hoping would be improved with the Fold 2, and it finally has, is dust protection. So Samsung is calling this the most advanced hinge design that they've ever done, even more so than the new hinge mechanism that the Z Flip introduced, with the whole structure of the phone reinforced to make the Fold more durable to drops and dust. In fact, at the event, Samsung even showed us jerry-rig everything's dust under test for the original Fold, to point out that they're actually using smaller sweepers in the hinge, similar to the ones used by Dyson vacuum cleaners to keep the debris out. And water resistance is here as well, well, to some extent at least. So even though Samsung has not officially confirmed this directly, Max Weinbach says that the Fold 2 has an anti-erosion waterproof coating on the main internal components of the motherboard. So it's not waterproof as per se, but it will help survive a quick drop in the water or possibly even withstand rain if you get caught in it. Unfortunately, if you're a fan of those free Galaxy Buds that came in the box of the original Fold, well, Samsung would not be including any free headphones inside the box of the Fold 2. Personally, I was even hoping for some free Galaxy Buds Live this time, but it seems like that won't be the case. Or is it? Speaking of the Buds Live, if you pre-order a Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, you do get a pair of Galaxy Buds Live for free. Now, Samsung hasn't really said if they will be doing the same thing for the Fold 2, but I would expect that to be the case. Unfortunately, if you do get your Fold after the pre-order window has closed, you would not be able to claim the free Galaxy Buds Live anymore. However, the box that the Fold 2 comes in is still as premium as before. So it's a gigantic box, which makes me think that Samsung bundled a few other things inside, such as hopefully a free case again. And the box itself opens in a unique way, just like a butterfly, so to say. So the unboxing experience itself is indeed very premium and very unique. Now, one of my main complaints with the Fold 1 was that it was quite thick, especially when closed down. Now, luckily, Samsung has made some massive improvements here. First, the entire device is thinner when unfolded. It was still pretty thin before at just 6.9mm thin, but now it is just 6mm thin when unfolded. Now, when folded or closed down, Samsung has managed to make the hinge close flatter, so the gap that was previously quite big is now noticeably smaller, making the device when closed thinner due to both of these improvements. Unfortunately, there is no way of making so many improvements to a device without increasing its weight. So the Fold 2 is now heavier at 279 grams compared to the already heavy Fold 1, which had a weight of 263 grams. Speaking of improvements, I'm a bit disappointed when it comes to the camera module. Rather than this being the Note 20 Ultra's camera system, it is actually the same camera module as on the Galaxy S20. Well, mostly. So we have a main 12-megapixel f1.8 aperture module, which this one is the exact same one as we had on the S20's main module, essentially. So larger pixels and a larger sensor overall compared to the S10s from the year before. And I'm very happy for that, as that was an incredible camera. Now, the second module is a 12-megapixel f2.2 aperture module, an ultra-wide angle module this time. Same as on the S20s, However, the third module, the telephoto one, is not quite as good. So on the S20s, we had a 64 megapixel telephoto module, with which you could have 30x digital zoom. Unfortunately, the Fold 2 only has a 12 megapixel module, which gives you 2x optical zoom and 10x digital zoom. Not only that, but because there's no 64 megapixel module, there is also no 8K video recording on the Fold 2, something that we've had on all the S20s as well as both the Galaxy Note 20s. Now, one of the early rumors about the Fold 2 was that it will include an S Pen. And this was one of my main requests as well. Now, I'm not a massive user of the S Pen myself, but I do have to say that having it on a device as big as the Fold 2 makes so much sense. Unfortunately, there is no S Pen at all. Samsung did actually make an official statement on this, saying that they engineered the Fold 2 to have its own special qualities that are suitable for foldables, which makes me think that they couldn't do it as of yet. My initial guess was that they couldn't do it as they would need to make the tip of the S Pen extremely soft in order for it not to damage the display. But then if it's extremely soft, it would actually flex when you press harder on the S Pen, and then the plastic body of the S Pen itself could touch that display, which could then easily damage it. But it could also be the case where Samsung wanted to make a thinner Fold 2, and they just couldn't have done that if they had included the S Pen. Okay, so now I have something pretty cool to show you guys, plus that giveaway that I promised you. So remember this strange gimbal thingy that I showed you at the beginning of the video? Well, this is the ZONEofTECH, which is both a selfie stick and a gimbal. What's really cool about this is that you can use the gimbal part of it when you want to take some extremely stabilized videos, and then you can extend it, just like a selfie stick, and use it for photos or even super wide and stabilized videos with your front-facing camera. You can actually extend it by 26 centimeters, and then you can also have this extra foot that comes in the box, which you can use to extend it even further. Or you can just use that foot to prop it up and take group shots, or even better, take a 4K time-lapse by using the ZONEofTECH app. My favorite part about this gimbal though is that it supports object tracking and also gesture control. So I can just hold it like this, do a palm gesture, and the ZONEofTECH gimbal would automatically find my face and reframe the shot so that I'm in the center of it and automatically take that shot for me. It's a really cool accessory for a smartphone, and we're actually giving one of these away. Yeah, simply make sure that you're a subscriber to the channel and you're also following on Instagram at ZONEofTECH, and then just make sure to give June a follow on Instagram as well, and leave a comment on this video saying why do you want to win the gimbal, and also make sure to leave your Instagram handle in the comments so that we can check that you're a follower. The winner will be announced in exactly 1 week from the moment this video goes live as an Instagram story on the ZONEofTECH account. So yeah, good luck to everyone, and thanks again to June for sponsoring this video. Now, one of the big improvements that the Fold 2 gets over the Fold 1 is a 120Hz refresh rate display, which is absolutely nuts, especially on such a massive display. Now, unfortunately, we do not know as of yet if that display will be able to run at native resolution while also running at 120Hz. The S20s can only run at 120Hz if you turn down the resolution to 1080p. And unfortunately, the exact same applies to the Note 20s, including the Note 20 Ultra. Now, the Fold 2 has a much larger display. It's pretty much a compact tablet really, so we definitely do need this display to run in native resolution, as even the text on the Galaxy S20 Ultra was a bit blurry when running that display in 1080p resolution. We don't know if Samsung will allow us to do that, but the good news is that the resolution on the Fold 1 was actually fixed, like you couldn't change it, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a native resolution running at 120Hz. Now, what gives me hopes in terms of this is the fact that the Fold 2 would only come with one CPU model, as opposed to the Galaxy S20s or even the Note 20s, both of which come with either a Exynos 990 processor, if you buy the international versions of these phones, or the Snapdragon 865. The Fold 2, same as the US version of the Note 20 Ultra, will feature the Snapdragon 865 Plus processor. And since there's no Exynos at all into play, and the Snapdragon version is around 20 to 30% more powerful than an Exynos version, we could see 120Hz at native resolution. Now, that inner display panel would still be a 60Hz panel, by the way. However, this display has received some massive improvements, the biggest one being in terms of the size. the Fold 1 had a tiny 4.6-inch display with gigantic bezels that I was almost never using because how small that thing was. But this time we have a 6.23 bezel-less display with just a single punch hole camera cutout, making this display fully usable now. But the big changes are on that inner display. And aside from the 120Hz refresh rate, this display is also getting larger as well now, from 7.3 inches to 7.6 inches. And not only that, but that massive notch has been replaced by a single camera cutout, just like on the front, and Samsung has also made the display way more durable than before. So just like on the Z Flip, Samsung is now using UTG, or ultra-thin glass. So the display assembly is now a plastic layer, then UTG underneath that, then the display panel itself, and then UMC, or under metal cushion, underneath that. Essentially, all of these components make the entire display assembly way more durable than before. Speaking of the display, this inner display, now the outer one, is also an LTPO panel, meaning that it can dynamically adjust its refresh rate based on the content that you're watching, going from 120Hz all the way down to 60, 30, or even 1 single Hertz in order to save battery life. Now, in terms of the battery, this is now a larger 5500 mAh battery compared to the 4235 that we had on the original Fold. This battery is also split, by the way, so you have half of it on one side, half of it on the other. And speaking of the battery, fast charging has also been improved, with support of up to 25-watt charging compared to 15 watts like we had on the Fold 1. However, the amount of storage that you get has been dropped to 256 gigabytes from 512, which personally I think that's fine, but there are rumors that this wasn't really made to decrease the price, but rather to be able to keep the price the same as before, which, fun fact, we don't know the price yet. Is that a fun fact? And speaking of storage, there is no SD card slot on the Fold 2. And since 256 gigabytes is apparently the only capacity that Samsung will be offering, you will be stuck with that amount of storage. Now, in case you're wondering if you're actually getting an in-display fingerprint reader this time, the answer is no. So this is still a side-mounted fingerprint reader, but this time Samsung has actually mounted it on the power button itself, as opposed to having a power button and then also a separate fingerprint reader next to it, like they did with the second version of the Fold 1. Now, the back of the Fold does indeed have a frosted glass texture, but we don't know yet if this is just on the gold model or the black one as well. So the press images seem to show that the black model has a frosted glass back as well, which is awesome. However, if you go to Samsung's website and you launch the 3D viewer, this one seems to show this as a regular glass. Oh, and apparently there's a brand new leather case now, and this is now made out of a single piece rather than two pieces, and I believe that it stretches over the hinge rather than leaving it open that way, like we had before with the Fold 1's leather case. And just like the Z Flip, Samsung will also be selling a more exclusive Thom Browne version of it, which will be more expensive, but you will also get the Thom Browne version of the Galaxy Watch 3, as well as the Thom Browne version of the Galaxy Buds Live included in this gigantic box. Samsung has also stated that work on their first Galaxy Fold started in 2011. Which, fun fact, that's the exact same year when Samsung demoed their flexible displays at CES 2011 for the very first time. And moving forward, Samsung has confirmed that their main focus would be on foldable devices as well as 5G, with more foldables being released in the future. So we might see a few different variants of the Galaxy Fold rather than just, the Galaxy Fold and the Z Flip. And interesting enough, Samsung has also confirmed that you would be getting software updates for the next 3 generations moving forward. Not 3 years, but the next 3 generations, which is an incredible move. So yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts on the Galaxy Fold 2. Fun fact, I'm back to the Fold 1 as my daily driver, finally. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what you guys think. Definitely watch our Fold 1 full review right here if you want to learn more about foldable devices. And definitely subscribe to notifications if you want to see some cool videos on the Fold 2 as soon as that gets released. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, this has been ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.